past events or plan for the future? Not yet, but they will.
They've been planning for my future.
It's like, the number says they can't, like, if you ever ask Alexa, what's your name? And it starts rapping and goes, hi, my name is Alexa and I'm here to stay. And I'm like, I'm gonna try that. Yeah, I'll try.
Does Siri do it?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
I think Siri just
Hey
goes,
Siri. She just ignores me. Brilliant.
Mm.
Right, yep, sounds like my wife. So they do not look back at past events or plan for the future. These are the sorts of things that humans do. Therefore,
I think Siri's a bit sexy. Okay.
humans are not objects or things.
I would disagree.
Well, I think the problem is that sometimes we do disagree. That's kind of a fundamental root problem of humanity, is that sometimes we see people as objects. Anyone who treats a person as a means to an end does violence to the very essence of the other. Again, you'd have to argue the point for, is violence words or is violence action? But yeah, I think the whole point is humans are not supposed to be used, they're not supposed to be objectified, they're not supposed to be treated like objects. However, the harsh reality is that often humans are objectified. It also makes it a lot easier if you dehumanize someone or desensitize humans to what it means to suffer. That it's easier to, treat them violently, treat them as second-class citizens, as unfortunately we can see throughout our entire human history, that when we decide to treat people as objects, it's a lot easier to dispose of them, because you use words like dispose rather than murder. So I think this is an important point. Sorry?
When you're a police officer,
No.
you know the moment that you stop feeling like sad for your the victim.
Your
That's
victim.
when you like that, you get told that's when you need to like stop.
There's always desensitization. There is. I think again the problem is with this that from a church point of view, from a Christian point of view, from any religious point of view, we are supposed to be seen as sovereign individuals. We're not supposed to be considered as objects or chattel, and unfortunately often we are considered as objects and chattel, and that makes it a lot easier to abuse people. I think that's the point that they're trying to get across. If you want to be a good person, treat people like individuals rather than as objects. Right, let's see if we can get to the question you can discuss in the next one. Right, what does it mean to use a person? Here we go. There's no harm. There's no harm in prostitution since it is a business arrangement between two consenting adults. Pornography is harmless, and besides, the people involved are professionals and get well paid.
That is true, they do get well paid.
Not all of them. If I knew I was a sexually transmitted if I knew I had, I presume it's supposed to be, if I knew I had a sexually transmitted infection, I would immediately tell my partner. If it doesn't matter how many sexual partners I have, in fact, the more the merrier. I can do drugs all I want to, since it doesn't harm anyone else.
That's not what that says.
It's only my life anyway. I'm saving sex for the person I marry, and anyone who doesn't respect my feelings obviously doesn't respect me. Going out and getting drunk every weekend is what life is all about. You are only young once. Living together is better than being married, since it is much less messy if you split up. I have a responsibility to look after my own health and well-being, therefore I am very careful in the lifestyle choices I make. You could tell she was up for it. I mean, you only had to look at the way she was dressed. I'm not into deep and meaningful relationships, I just want sex. Using contraceptives makes it much easier to sleep around and have a promiscuous lifestyle. Right.
This was obviously written by a man.
I think, do you think there's double standards?
What do you mean?
That's what I was going to ask. What does that mean?
Double standards? Do you think if a man sleeps with 50 women, it's not a bad thing, but if a woman sleeps with 50 men, it's a bad thing?
See if you think about it, men lie about how many people they've slept with.
We've discussed this already, though.
They increase it.
And women decrease it.
And women decrease
yes,
it.
Absolutely.
Because men think it's disgusting when women sleep with them,
yes,
but if they've slept with 50 men...
Okay, so that's what you mean by double standards now.
But what about the fact, do women find it unattractive if a man has slept with many partners, or do they find it more attractive?
Some people find it more attractive.
I know. Well, some
Experience.
people gets rid of the outliers, but if you keep the outliers there, if women are met with a man who's had, let's not say 50, but you know, a reasonable amount of partners, 20 people, right?
King Solomon.
Does that make them more or less attractive? And then compare it the other way around. If a man is with a woman and he knows that she's been with 20 partners, does that make her less or more attractive to the man?
But like, see, sometimes some people sleep with people because they've had like a rough child.
Of course they do. There's a million reasons. We're complicated beings.
Yeah,
Absolutely
like,
we are.
There's reasons for people having these.
Of
kind
course they are. Let's not even mention neglect and abuse.
Mm-hmm.
They're right up there.
So just like you were fine, you had a fine upbringing, and you just decided to have lots of partners.
Sure.
So-
And
So I've got a
But is there a double standard?
yeah, most likely.
it's icky for both.
Yeah, I think so. I think unfortunately we do live in a world where there is a double standard. That it's often the woman that bears the brunt of having multiple partners, and the man kind of gets away with it. I think that amongst men it's considered virile, whereas amongst women it's considered a lack of, lack of purity possibly.
It's like that part where it says you could tell she was up for it. I mean, you only had to look at the way she was dressed.
Absolutely. However, it doesn't take into consider the fact that when women go out on a night out, generally speaking, they're looking to impress themselves and their friends, not a sexual partner.
Yeah.
Whereas men don't see it like that. To imagine that there's not a double standard, unfortunately we can't, because there is a double standard. I think it's wrong, but it's there. Right, these are all interesting points. They're all interesting points. You could kind of take apart all of them. There's no harm in prostitution since it's a business arrangement between two consenting adults. What do you think?
There isn't. It's not. There's
First one.
There's nothing like if they're both consenting to it and they're both adults, well, it's business. That's
It
like
is business, absolutely.
He or she is making their money.
Well, they're making money, so that's a good thing, right? But is it moral?
No.
So does that make it right?
No. But it doesn't make it wrong.
Okay. Well, it should.
You'd make a great RMPS pupil.
It's an interesting point. I think we all probably have our own opinion about it. Is prostitution a good thing or a bad thing? Pornography. What about pornography then? Is it harmless? It's besides the people involved, they're all professionals and they get well paid. You know, apart
Are
from
we
sex
talking
slaves.
about like porn as in like Pornhub or like actual like pictures of like
I mean, it's a changing world, isn't it? You know, the whole point is that it's completely changed since before.
like there's child porn.
So I've dropped the door for this Lacey and that.
Okay, I'll
No,
go.
but it's
They'll
saying
be
it's
fine.
saying pornography is harmless. That's not
Wait, so is
Guys,
it
I'm just gonna go and stand in the corridor.
really quick? Is this asking from the point of view of like the person watching it, or the person actually acting in it?
like the person getting paid for it.
I think if you're a pornographer and you're taking part in it, you've probably got a very different opinion
No, yeah.
than, say, a Catholic priest, for instance. Then again, a lot of things can be said about Catholic priests as well. Right, listen, those questions are there. I'm gonna
The Reddit stories about Catholic
I'm gonna stand in between the classes because she's got a mental second year and she's leaving. So, questions are there. Challenge yourself. I'll be right here. I'll be backwards and forwards as well.
No doubt.